Welcome to the dark side of Beastwriter on this Monday for another Pick 6 at 6 p.m. live stream. I'm your host, Ryan Sakamoto, and today we're going to be breaking down all the news and notes and quotes as it pertains to the Las Vegas Raiders, what I'm hearing, what I'm seeing from Raiders headquarters as a beat writer from a beat writer perspective, but then also you're going to get the Beastwriter perspective as it pertains to what the other 31 other NFL teams are doing and what the Raiders may or may not do depending on how the parameters work out and what they're trying to build from this team from the ground up and solidifying their future. So again, there's a lot of things to discuss today. I want to talk about a number of different things. I want to start off with the transactions. But before we do, I just want to say thank you and mahalo to each and every one of you that we're spreading the word on the DLB family. We have hit 5,200 subscribers. So again, over the weekend, which is good news and big news for us because again, once people gets their eyes on the DOB and the podcast that we bring and the vibes that we bring here on the YouTube channel, you're going to want to subscribe. I mean, let's not get it twisted. It is what it is. And you guys know where the movement's going. So again, join the movement, join the lifestyle, join the DOB family here in the DOB. And I'm very, very fortunate to have you guys in my corner. Now, again, before we go ahead and get started, just be sure for all the ones that are subscribed, there's only 14.5% that have yet to turn on the bell notification. So go ahead and do that. Turn on the bell notifications because only 14.5% have done so after subscribing to the channel. That way you don't miss a beat from a guy on the beat. And yeah, good news. We're going to talk about a lot of different things. One, Byron Young, the third-round pick, drafted number 70 overall at a Roll Tide role. He was just signed to his rookie contract. Here's some other news, notes, and quotes from Raiders headquarters as wide receiver Christian Wilkinson was just added to the team's roster. And then they also got rid of another wide receiver, which I posted up on Twitter. So again, if you guys want to follow me on social media, other than the one that you're specifically watching from, whether it be YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, whatever the case may be, Facebook, follow me on all my social media outlets. The link is in the description box below. And then again, this is why I'm just going to, Daniel Munoz says, let's get it, Beast. I'm just going to remove this. Thank you so much, Daniel. I appreciate you, my guy. You see where it says YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and Venmo? Where can you find me? At Beastwriter. So again, I've been getting Venmo donations. Thank you to each and every one of you that have been doing that. Mika from Germany, thank you for your super thanks. I really appreciate those all the way from Germany. I mean, this guy is sending me super thanks from Germany on all my videos. I love it. The nation is strong there in Germany. So I really, really appreciate it. But yeah, I just want to say before we get started, man, this is something that's going to be leaving no stone unturned. And again, this is how I done it with the Niners. So again, there's no drop off in production from what I'm bringing from the red and gold to the silver and black. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Now, let me write this down because I know people are going to piggyback on this and pass it off as their own. But hey, you heard it here first in Beast Nation. What do you want me to say? Call it how we see it. It is what it is. Don't like it, swipe left. All right. So we're going to go ahead and talk about this. Just want to give a shout out. Right Guy says, Beast, what's going on, my guy? How you doing today? Love your avatar. That's very dark side-ish. I like it. Like it. Jason Singleton says, Beast. You know what's funny about this is when I used to come out of the 49ers tunnel, that's the first thing they say. They go, Beast. Post that stuff up on YouTube and social media. And people are like looking like, Beast, that's crazy. Not beast mode, Beast. Sean Johnson, salute Beast. What's going on, my guy? All right. So again, if you guys haven't heard the news, Byron Young, and again, there's 34 of you guys watching right now. Give this video a thumbs up before we go ahead and get started if you like my silver and black content that I provide on the daily. All right. Now, a couple things are going in the works. One, I just want to break down the news notes and jokes. No, the news notes and quotes. All right. From the transactions. I'm just going to put this up right here. Again, turn on the bell notifications. Those only, we reached 5,200 subscribers, but only 14.5% of the subscribers here in the DOB fam, Beast Nation, have turned on the bell notification. So make sure you do that on your tablet, whatever it is, your cell phone, whatever smartphone device, whatever it is, Android, whatever the case may be. Just be sure to turn on that bell notifications and turn on all so you guys get notified when I go live or upload content. Because I'll be honest with you, people like, oh man, did you talk about this? And I was like, yeah, I already talked about that. Or did you talk about XYZ? Yeah, we talked about that. So again, we cover all our bases and we do a live stream every single day of the week. Like Monday through Friday, we're on at 6 p.m. All right. So again, if you're gonna, again, you only have 24 hours to follow who you want to follow. I don't expect you to watch every single video, but again, if you guys want to support the DOB and help us grow, that doesn't cost a penny. So just watching all my videos helps out a lot. One, it makes me money. Two, it helps the algorithm grow here in the DOB family. So if you can't afford to send me a super chat, that's just as good. So again, and that is free. A like is also free. So give this video a thumbs up as 32 people are watching. But yeah, thank you so much, everyone. I appreciate it. All right. So before we go ahead and get started, I just want to say mahalo to everyone that's been supporting me. I mean, this has been awesome, man. Like, honestly, I've been teetering back and forth. And again, we're going to talk about Quinnen Williams. I have this down to a science. I've been grading Quinnen Williams dating back to his rookie year. When I covered him with the San Francisco 49ers. Before that, I also am very familiar in what Quinnen Williams brings to the table. The Beast Receipts we'll check out. I'm going to talk about those Beast Receipts on Twitter that I posted from the time he was drafted to 2022 and beyond. All right. So again, if you guys haven't seen my video on Quinnen Williams, I got the chance to meet him. And he was oddly surprised how I knew about the IHOP down the street from 49ers Levi Stadium. Which, by the way, Quinnen, if you're watching this, sorry, bro, IHOP no longer exists off Great America Parkway. It went bye-bye, man. Don't know what to tell you, man. I used to go to that IHOP too. It's no longer there. All right. G, what's up? G says, if you like the content, hit the like button and share the video with your friends, family, and Raiders fans. If you see someone wearing Raiders gear, tell them about this YouTube channel. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's like this. People will probably first perception is, oh, it's spam. It's not. One, I'm a beat writer, so it's not spam. It's impossible for it to be spam because I'm a beat writer. Like I'm one of the handful of people who are one of the Raiders reporters recognized by the team as a beat writer. So that in itself makes it not spam. So just that alone. And then you're getting inside access information on the daily when I'm there, Monday through Friday. I mean, where else can you find that? And then engaging with you guys on top of that. And then using my Beast Receipts to formulate my analysis when watching film and grading the snap, not the box score. Where else are you going to find that? Making predictions in November about them targeting offensive alignment in that 6 to 9 range. In November, the season's not even over yet. Comes down to watching 67 hours of game film. Where are you going to find that? No one but the DOB. I got time. All right. So again, you only have 24 hours to do what you want to do with those 24 hours. You guys got family, you guys got kids, you guys have other obligations. Some of you guys have second jobs. Some of you guys got third. Hey, I understand that. But when it comes to watching Raiders content, you pick and choose who you want to follow. Do you want to follow clickbait? Go follow clickbait. You want to follow people who are just going to throw out stuff that's never going to happen? Go follow those. You want to follow those content stealers? Go follow those content stealers. Do you want to follow the Beastwriter, who's a beat writer, who's giving you unfiltered access coverage on the daily with no drop off in production? Because I'm doing this off the top of my head when covering all 32 NFL teams, specifically as it pertains to the team that I'm covering, specifically when it comes to your silver and black. You won't find that coverage anywhere else. Guaranteed. Keep the Beast receipt. All right. So calling it how I see it, it is what it is. So we're going to leave no drop off right now. We're going to talk about Quinnen Williams, what he brings to the table. And again, before we talk about Quinnen Williams and why the Raiders would target him or why they wouldn't target him, it remains to be seen. But does it create a perfect storm to comment and say Quinnen Williams is a possible landing destination for the Las Vegas Raiders? Well, let's go back and peel back layers of the onion to get to the core. All right. For those who don't know what happened on Quinnen Williams' Twitter, he literally said, and I'm just going to pull it up right now so you guys can know. All right. Go to Quinnen Williams, if you guys are on Twitter. He posted, it's crazy. It's all over the internet. His bio changed from whatever it was to defensive tackle for dot. That's how many dots are in it. It wasn't just dot. It was like dot, which means he's not happy. Why? All right. So again, in order to know the parameters of exactly what we're talking about here, let me write this down. We have to always do our due diligence in knowing what we're talking about. And then for me, it comes down to game film. Luckily, you guys have me. I ran grades on Quinnen Williams since his rookie season. going back to Alabama. I predicted he would be drafted by the New York Jets by Mike McCagnon, then GM. Now it's Joe Douglas. All right. So again, you're going to want to see the receipts. I got them. I know Quinnen Williams very well. All right. So let's go ahead and talk about who Quinnen Williams is. All right. So I break down all my parameters in all my videos into 3 parameters. First is who are the players involved? The second parameter is why the move is made, or in this case, potentially could be made. And the last but not least parameter is the instant gratification versus long-term gains. So that's what we talk about here in the DOB. All right. That's exactly what we talk about here in the DOB. All right. So here we go. All right. So who is Quinnen Williams? Obviously, if you guys don't know, he's a 2019 first round pick, drafted number 3 overall out of Alabama. If you guys remember, in that same draft class, Kyler Murray went 1 to the Arizona Cardinals, and then Nick Bosa went number 2 to the San Francisco 49ers. All right. Now, again, what I was told was Robert Saleh really loved Quinnen Williams. He also loved really loved Nick Bosa. So he loved both those guys. Couldn't go wrong with either. Both came in for PDVs, pre-draft visits. And at the time, you know exactly what type of players you were getting in these guys were generational talents. All right. Now, to think that one was ahead of the other, it all depends on, again, scheme fit, right? So the Niners were running that wide 9 scheme back in 2019 under Robert Saleh. You guys remember that? Remember the 2 years prior to that, you guys were calling for Saleh's head? My gosh. And I said, no, wait. Same thing that people are saying about Coach Graham and the Raiders. I said, no. Hold on, Ben. I'm not going off tangent here. I'm trying to paint a picture of the why behind the what. All right, anybody could talk about Quinnen Williams. Oh, trade scenario. Oh, let's just hype it up and get views. Boom, 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 boom. No, man, like let's break it down. Peel back layers of the onion, get to the core. Let's go. Let's talk about it. All right, he's 6'3", 303. All right, 603, 6'3", 303 pounds. All right, this guy is massive. He has a 33 1/4 arm length. So again, it's not those 34-inch arms. It's not those 35-inch arms. It's not those 36-inch arms. See me, Tyree Wilson, 35 5/8. My bad. But what he's really good at is resetting the line of scrimmage. Strong at the point of attack, and he doubled down as not a one-trick pony. He can rush the passer. All right. In my grading system, all right, in the whole sham of things in my grading system, Quinnen Williams, now again, like this video, if you guys know what I'm talking about, if you guys see the value that I bring to the table because I watched the game film, I grade the snap, not the box score, holla at your boy. Like this video, it's free. Or if you want to support your boy through a super chat or super sticker, you guys can go ahead and send me those too. Those are just as good as well, and they really help out the YouTube algorithm and also pushes the video to other like-minded nation like yourself. So again, before I get started talking about the game grades, give this video a thumbs up. Everybody can do that. That is free 99. Doesn't cost a penny. All right. So again, I do this all for you. I can be right now, it's off season. I could take a break right now, to be honest with you, and just hit the gym. Like, honestly. But I was like, you know what? Again, I only have 24 hours in a day. What I choose to do with those 24 hours is up to me. I want to grind it out, give out the most accurate, informative information from a beast mentality perspective, so you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. So when someone else tries to piggyback on it, be like, there's no way you can come back on that because Beast already said that first. And how would you know without running the grades and having a grading system to kind of formulate that analysis when going to the film? All right. So you already know somebody's going to copy this. So let me write this. You already know. We're going to see on Instagram, we're going to see, oh, I think they should target Quinnen Williams. Why? Well, he resets the line of scrimmage. Let me write that down. Strong on the point of attack. Let me write that down. Scheme diverse. Let me write that down. Not a 3-4 or 4-3. No, not a one-trick pony. Okay. But Quinnen Williams is my grading system because I ran grades on all the top interior defensive linemen. Chris Jones doesn't even sniff Quinnen Williams material. I'm serious. Quinnen Williams is on a different level. He's on the same wavelength as Jeffrey Simmons. That's why both those guys, and I talked with Quinnen Williams in that interview in the trailer before this live stream right here, and he was very honored, when I voted for him for the Pro Football Writers Association as a first-team All-Pro. All right, yes, I have urine voting rights. That's why I have a grading system, because I can't just go to the box score and be like, oh, yeah. And let's be honest about this. There is no box score for offensive linemen. You have to do the legwork in watching offensive linemen. So if you know that Joe Bitonio is going to be a good offensive lineman, you better know what you're talking about. Right? Again, A lot of things don't show up in the box score or stat sheet. So again, in my grading system, Quinnen Williams in 2022 graded at a 7.3 out of a 10. That's first team all pro level. All right. 6.5 to 7.0 is Pro Bowl. 7.3 and above is all pro. All right. So he just nicked the first team all pro level and was the greatest highest rated interior defensive lineman. Now, is he better than Aaron Donald? No. Where they're ranked and where they're graded is two different parameters in my grading system. However, he was the highest graded interior defensive lineman in my grading system, and he is seeking a long-term deal. Why? Because he's a 2019 first-round draft pick. He's playing on the fifth-year option. He's going to want that bread up front in case he gets hurt. He wants a front-loaded deal, my friends. Lee Corso voice. All right. Salvatore Bruno says, Marcus Peters sign yet? Did he pass physical? Sign the man now. Salvatore Bruno, how you doing? Marcus Peters is in. Like I said, check the Beast receipts. I like Marcus Peters. I mean, he's from the Bay Area. I'm from the Bay Area. I get it. I wanted the Niners to draft him number 15 overall back in 2015. I thought they were going to draft him. Came in with red flags, and he does gamble a lot. That's one thing that I see in this game is he got my vote for, obviously Pro Bowl votes and all pro votes early on in his career with the Kansas City Chiefs. But let's face it, he gambles a lot, right? And I even tweeted this out. I would rather have, at the time, right, when he was getting paid big money by the Baltimore Ravens, I would rather have a sound cornerback who understands being disciplined in staying square at the line of scrimmage, not gambling, not biting on double moves when he knows that there's only single high coverage up top, and then also knowing how to leverage your play, right, on any given down, right? Marcus Peters, to me, gambles a little too much. I like him. He can rack up 6 to 8 interceptions in a year. Have 2 pick sixes, right? Cool. But he also gives up a lot in coverage when grading the snap, not the box score. All right. So again, although I do like Marcus Peters and he will provide competition, and I think he instantly boosts the boundary cornerback position here in Las Vegas, ultimately it's not a long-term fixture. Now, if you're looking for a stopgap cornerback who can kind of have that swagger and that Raider mentality to iron sharpens iron and raising maybe a Corian Bennett up to kind of take advantage of his speed and kind of like tutelage him a little bit as a mentor, protege kind of dynamic, I get it. So we'll see. But to think that Marcus Peters is going to return to his all-pro form or even a Pro Bowl form, there's a reason why GM Eric DeCosta from the Baltimore Ravens said, no, we're going in another direction. All right. Now, you guys remember he was with the LA Rams, right? Marcus Peters with the Rams. He played with the Chiefs. So he's been bouncing around the league a little bit. I like Marcus Peters. I just don't think he's going to be overhyped as many of the nation that I see on social media. People are talking to this guy like he's the next Charles Woodson, for crying out loud. He's not. I'm sorry. Now watch me be wrong and watch him have a Hall of Fame career. I have some funny videos of Marcus Peters. All right. When I was working with the Niners, I will post those up for you guys. I'm very well versed. I like Marcus Peters. I just think he's past his prime. And I don't think he's that Pro Bowl cornerback that people make him out to be. But we're talking about Quinnen Williams right now. All right. There's 51 of you guys watching right now. I wonder why. Give this video a thumbs up if you like what I have to say and bring on the daily. Before I go ahead and start, I'm just going to make sure that our likes match our viewer count, because at the end of the day, nope, they're not. We're at 43 likes and have 52 people watching. Get those likes up and then we'll go ahead and start. But again, yeah, we're talking about Onto Six Soldier says, how many dots? Hashtag, let me write that down. You know what I'm saying? Let me write this down. Alvaro, how are you doing today, my guy? How are you doing? Matt Heberly, thank you so much for the like on the video on Facebook. I get the notifications, man. You just liked it literally right now. See, I respond to every comment. I respond to every like. I respond to every super chat, every super thanks, and all that in between, on top of providing the unfiltered access coverage and the daily reporting on the daily grind. Where else can you find that from a beat writer perspective? Where I respond to who responds to every single person. Literally. I know exactly who you guys are. All 5,200 people here in the DLB family on YouTube, I know exactly who you are. I know who Larry is. I know who Leonard Villafuerte is. In fact, I even go back to when I first started my grind with the Raiders, and I know who my day one A1s are because you guys are on the list. You guys didn't know I had a list. I keep lists. I got the receipts. Edgar Bonilla. How you doing today? Sue is more realistic. Williams would be next year when we free up cap space. Here's the thing with that. Luckily, you have me to break it down for you to where I play the role of GM. I also play the role of salary cap guru, and I also play the role of personnel director. All right, so we're going to wear 3 hats here in the DOB. I got you covered. I've been doing this for a while. Just like how I broke down financials for Darren Waller and Hunter Renfrow was spot on down to the millionth of a dollar. All right, so again, here we go. Jason Marshall says Jacobs is better than Williams. Sounds unrealistic to afford both from that draft class. Hold on, Jason. By the way, thank you for chiming in, Jason. I appreciate it. This is the first time you ever hopped on the live stream, and I appreciate it. And dropping a comment. See, I know. John Leon is in the house. He says Peters at safety. Ooh, I would like that. But that would stunt Christopher Smith's growth, who they just drafted in the 5th round. Isaiah Polamal's growth, because he's entering year 1, going into year 2. And that also and people were saying that Polamal is going to be inserted as a linebacker. I have not heard that. Just FYI. He may have added weight, but I didn't hear that he was going to be launching as a 2nd level backer. And the third thing I want to bring up is you already have Trayvon Merrick there, right? So you have those 3 players there. And then also, where does that leave Marcus Epps? He's going to be starting. So that's 4 people there. That's 4 starters on the back. Not 4 starters. That's 4 people who are almost guaranteed a roster spot. No one's going to come out and say it. I'll say it. In my 53-man roster projection, I was at 87% last year. All right. Kind of upset about that. I want that in the 90s, just like my time with the Niners and Steelers. It's always in the 90s. It's at 87%. Kind of upset about that. Hopefully you do better. Let's get in the 90s. All right. So we're talking about Quinnen Williams right now. All right. So again, he's my highest graded interior defensive lineman out of Aaron Donald, out of Jeffrey Simmons, out of Chris Jones. You name all the top interior defensive linemen, I graded them. He was the best. Now, where they're graded and where they're ranked are 2 separate parameters. Trust me, if I was to start an NFL franchise and say, hey, who's the interior defensive lineman you want? I want Aaron Donald, hands down. All right. That'd be my guy. But where they're graded, Q ranked out higher. All right. So again, what is Q valuation versus evaluation when grading the snap, not the box score? All right. I look at the parameters of the financials and the comparables, kind of like in real estate, right? This is kind of like my real estate background that I'm going into now. All right. When you look at a house in a neighborhood, you look at comparables. That's the first thing you look for. Location, location, location. Second thing you want to look for is the comparables of the house based on what's inside, what's the living space at, how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, and then also the interior, right? Usually when people remodel their bathrooms, it's usually going to up the house, right? People think it's the kitchen and everything else, but that plays a role too. But honestly, kitchen, bathroom, bedrooms is just the bedrooms are the bedrooms. Like you could knock out a wall if you wanted to and so forth. So what's the comparables? All right. What's the comparables to Quinnen Williams as opposed to Jeffrey Simmons, as opposed to Dexter Lawrence, as opposed to some of the other guys? I'll tell you, he's seeking a long-term deal, as in Quinnen Williams. So I ran the numbers before hopping on here, over at $90 million. All right. So he's seeking a long-term deal, kind of in that 4-year range. So now you're getting a long-term deal in a front-loaded contract, 4 years valued at $90+ million, $23.5 million APY. All right, so he wants $23.5 million APY. Now, before we go ahead any further, people are saying, oh, can we afford it? Like I said, I got you covered. We will make it fit. All right. Let me write this down. Oh, what is the most likely move before camp and after? All right, let's see. We got 52 likes right now, and we got 56 people watching. There's 4 people in here. Let's get those likes up, my guys and girls. Get those likes up before we go ahead and continue on. If you guys like the silver and black content that I provide in the daily. Also, if you guys want to support through a super chat or super sticker, you guys can do so, right? I put these videos out for you like I said, this is off season. I literally could be taking a break and doing other things, just like everyone else or most everyone else. All right. But I'm not. I'm on here grinding it out 24/7 for all you guys. So if you guys would like to donate to the channel, there's 54 of you guys watching right now. It really do the live stream a big favor. And again, it pushes me to do more, like more of these live streams. I mean, let's be honest. This is my 9 to 5, right? I don't do this for kicks and giggles. I'm not a content creator. I'm a beat writer, right? I get paid to do this, right? So at the end of the day, it's like, okay, if you can't do that because times are tough for me too. You already know. Give this video a thumbs up. That is free. That helps just as much. And that is free. So I'm not asking for a penny more than just a like. And that is free 99. There's 52 of you guys watching right now. Give this video a thumbs up. If you like my Quinnen Williams to the Las Vegas Raiders potential trade scenario. Now let me write this down. All right. Boogie says, people make time for what they want to make time for. Yes, absolutely. And I make time for you guys every single day. For me to hop on a live stream and talk about Quinnen Williams, who's not even on the team, and how it would fit or not fit, if it makes sense or doesn't make sense, and what's the financials of making this situation right for both GM Joe Douglas for the New York Jets and also Dave Ziegler of the Las Vegas Raiders. And then how does that fit into the personnel scheme of things when evaluating their roster on both sides of the ball on both teams? You really have to look at that, right? Jeremy Willis says, I'm reading the Beast Nation tea leaves. I'm assuming we're signing Quinnen Williams. My guy, Jeremy Willis, I love talking to you, my guy. All right, so let's just go ahead and talk about this, all right? So we're not done yet, all right? We're not done. We're just getting started. There's a lot to talk about here when we talk about Quinnen Williams, man. Like, this guy's a monster. Like, I'm a big Roll Tide Roll fan, but this guy is definitely a top 5 interior defensive lineman. There is no question about it. Like, year in and year out. Why? Because, again, he's scheme diverse. Let's be honest about this. Coaching changes happen all the freaking time, man. That's what the NFL stands for, not for freaking long. That's NFFL, not for freaking long. What is that? You guys know what I'm talking about, though. The truth of the matter is this. If you see a team that rehauls their coaching staff, odds are the whole thing's going to be revamped. That includes the management. So if you were to get a guy in from an owner perspective, a Mr. Davis perspective, you would be like, hey, look, that's all Beastwriter's podcasts. And he was saying that if we were going to trade for a guy, he needs to be scheme diverse, not scheme dependent. Damn it, Beast. You guys know what I'm talking about? Are you a one gap guy or are you a two gap guy? Or can you play a combination of the both? Are you a read and react guy? Are you a lock horns guy and then ID the ball carrier behind the line of scrimmage? And can you do that and be coachable enough to do that? Or are you going to just sell out because you're playing in a two gap scheme and you're like, nah, man, I'm coming from a one gap technique college program. I'm just going to split the gap how I see fit. Backdoor, I don't care. Leave my second level backers out to dry. And whatever happens, happens. There's a lot of different parameters that go into this, right? You can't just pull a player and be like, oh, yeah, that player's good. Let's bring him in. Let's bring him in, George. It doesn't work that way. I'm just saying. All right. So again, when you talk about Quinnen Williams and what he's valued at, I value him at $90 million. That's where his asking price is going to be set at. $90 billion. Now, what does that look like? 23.5 over the lifelong of 4 years. All right. So $23.5 million contract, $23.5 million is what you're looking for APY. That's fair market value. Why? Because when you look at the dynamics of the other NFL teams and then you run the schematics and the analytics and the grading systems on a guy like Jeffrey Simmons, who's 26 years old, what does that tell you? What did he get? He got $94 million, $23.5 million guaranteed, $60 million overall guaranteed. 23.5 APY was $60 million guaranteed, right? 59.3 to be exact. All right. And then you look at another guy who just got heavily paid. And what happened? Quinnen Williams went out and retweeted what he got. Dexter Lawrence from the New York Giants. Joe Shane's like, okay, you're going to get $90 million. How old are you? 26 years old. $22.5 million. That's $1 million less than what Jeffrey Simmons was getting, and he's getting $59 million guaranteed. Again, you're looking at this, man, what the hell? If you're Quinnen Williams. And then, if that's not really a gold standard for you, right? If you're GM Joe Douglas, then what about Darren Payne from the Washington freaking Commanders? He's 26 years old. What did he get? 90 million, 22.5 million APY, same as who? Dexter Lawrence, and 60 million guaranteed. All right. So you look at that and you say, okay, what's the drop off from the age gap to the valuation versus evaluation if one more signing this guy's contract? And what does that look like for our foreseeable future? Well, let's face it. Life without Quinnen Williams is a very scary thought for the Jets defensive line because they play in that wide 9. All right. Secondly, Quinnen Williams to the Las Vegas Raiders makes more sense than one would think. And now I said 23.5 million APY. How does that look? What does that look like? Because if you look at it for what it really is, the Raiders don't have that much cap health. All right. So why the move could be made? Let's talk about this. All right. We break this down into 3 parameters. Jason Marsh says, it's not first time, but been a long time. Salute, Beast. What's going on, my guy? How you doing today? Jason Marshall, I'm going to break it down for you, man. I got you covered. Kikaha Raiders says, I hope we don't trade Davante Adams for Q. No. You know, the funny thing about this is the moment I put this up, I was getting DMs saying, oh, we're going to trade Davante. I was like, no. Gosh, no. He's like the face of the franchise. I'm sorry. I would be traded along with Davante Adams if Davante Adams was shipped back out of here. I'd be like, hey, we're both on the Bay. Let's do it. No, Davante Adams is definitely a Hall of Famer, man. You don't trade Hall of Famers like that in the prime of their careers. Larry Fleming says, listen up. Beast is dropping some serious gems on this in and outs of player acquisitions. Yeah, man, this is what I do. And again, people say all the time, for you to formulate this analysis, and we talk about this, how can you come up with the what without coming up with the why? Like I can make out and throw darts at the board too. Like, oh yeah, you know what GM Joe Douglas is going to do? He's going to trade Garrett Wilson because they brought in Randall Cobb. Like, obviously that's not going to happen. I'm just saying, who else do they have there? They have Mecole Hardman, who they got from the Kansas City Chiefs, right? They got Alan Lazard from the Packers. Right. I mean, you're Randall Cobb from the Packers. Right. So, I mean, you're getting A-Rod guys. So, like, here's something and food for thought. You don't think that GM Joe Douglas does not look at this and be like, hey, look, I know we got your guys, A-Rod. All right. Which, by the way, supposedly A-Rod said it was absolutely ridiculous that he had a wish list. My thinking is that may be true. I don't know what happens behind closed out. I'll give A-Rod the benefit of the doubt. What I am saying is it's kind of a big coincidence to bring in guys like Alan Lazard and Randall Cobb before agreeing to a trade. Well, they got Randall Cobb after, but Alan Lazard, a few other guys, just saying. Didn't they also bring in who else? They brought in a few Packers. I'm just going to look it up right now because this man, it was just like, what? Man, I was just looking at it the other day before hopping on this weekend. I was looking at it. Didn't they get who else did they get? They got some other guys on the roster. It's like, what the heck? They're loaded, by the way. Alan Lazard, Mecole Hardman, obviously from KC. I just said Randall Cobb, Green Bay. They still have Denzel Mims, who can't run a route tree worth his life. He just runs 7.89 bangers. Talked about it in real time. Corey Davis, who they got from Tennessee. All right. But, Billy Turner. That's a guy he worked with. Billy Turner, he was with the Denver Broncos. Now he's with the New York Jets. All right. So a lot of pieces here. All right. That A-Rod can work with. But the Quinnen Williams dynamic makes sense for a lot of different reasons to the Las Vegas Raiders. Why could the move be made? All right. So let's just talk about that. And again, if you guys like what I have to say, there's 66 people now watching. 66 people watching right now. Give this video a thumbs up if you guys like what I have to bring on the daily. And remember to write this down. So when you guys go out and say it, you guys credit me. That's all I'm saying. It's only right. It's only fair. Honest vibes are good vibes here in the DOB. Just saying it. All right, there's 60 people watching, and we have 64 people. 64 people watching. 60 likes. Give this video a thumbs up if you like what I have to say before we go on and move forward. But then also, if you guys want to support through a super sticker or super chat, please feel free to do so. We've been on for 40 minutes and 15 seconds, and we are looking for our first one. All right. So if you want to set the tone here in the DOB on a Monday, feel free. Jack Kenna says, Beast salute. What's going on, my guy? How you doing? We got Chris Gang in here. He also said Leonard Williams got a bag from the Giants too. Yes, absolutely. He absolutely did. Jeremy Lewis says, we trust your grading system, Beastwriter. I've not watched his film, but I hear he's a dominant defensive tackle. We need a dominant defensive tackle to open up the edges one-on-one. Secondly, it will protect our second-level backers. I agree with you. And thank you. I appreciate it. Mahalo for the love. All right. So, again, if you guys like what I bring to the table, give this video a thumbs up. All right. Give this video a thumbs up. It really helps out the algorithm and pushes the video to other like-minded nation like yourselves. Also, if you're watching the replay, watch all my replays. All right. Because that also helps me make money. So, again, if you can't specifically donate through a super chat or super sticker, donate your time and watch all my videos, because that also pushes the algorithm to the nation here on YouTube as a recommended video. And it's working. How do I know that? I look at my analytics every single day. It's working. So a lot of you guys are doing what I'm asking you guys to do. And thank you so much for doing that. But we need more to do that. All right. So again, I don't know who or when you guys watch all my videos, because we have 65 people. I don't know all 65 people who are watching right now. I can only tell by the comment section. But do me a solid, watch all my videos, whether it be a live stream, whether it be a static video, whether it be my locker room pulse interviews, my coach's corner interviews. I break down everything in a playlist for you, 12 playlists to be exact. All right. So check them all out. It's up on the community page. Again, I leave no stone unturned. I do it all for you guys. When a lot of people don't have to, right? A lot of people don't, they're like, man, no, I'm taking the day off, man. Like, I'm not going to do a live stream on Monday. It's off season. No one's going to care. No, man, there's no off season here in the DOB. We keep going. Jack Kenneth says, Raiders don't have cap this year. Again, I'm going to break it down to you as to how to make it work. Again, this is why you guys follow me. If you listen to too many people on social media, by the way, how are you doing, Jack? Not you specifically. I'm saying if people listen to too many people on social media saying we don't have this, we don't have that, without running the numbers and knowing how to do this from a financial obligation standpoint in the instant gratification versus long-term gains, you're doing yourself a disservice, because it can happen. And I've been doing this for a very long time, over a decade, over 10 years. All right. And the receipts check out, trust. And you know that. That's why you're watching. My guy, Jack, really appreciate you in here. But yeah, that's what I say. You only have 24 hours to follow who you want to follow. Be sure you follow the right people who actually know what they're talking about and not just rambling their mouth, trying to sound educated when they really don't know what they're saying. Mike Nixon, thank you so much. He says, definitely appreciate you. You keep it real, and it's great to hear the daily updates. Some others are not worth the time. Keep it up. Thank you so much, Mike. I really appreciate that. Really means a lot. Really means a lot. And again, these comments mean a lot to me. These comments mean more than anything to me. You know, leaving this type of engagement. Why? Because people are going to talk about this. You don't know how many people are watching this right now and being like, maybe I need to raise my game and start a YouTube channel. Maybe I should be more like Beast and have some receipts and call myself out when I get it right or wrong. I like doing it, but not too many people have the balls to put their stuff on the line. I like doing it. I like calling myself out when I get it wrong. Look, it makes me a better man. Why? Because I like calling myself out. Like, I hold myself accountable. That's why. Like, I'm not going to be a flip-flop or fake that we talk about and be like, oh, yeah, I said Quinnen Williams was good. And, oh, no, I didn't. And he had a bad year. Oh, no, I didn't. Like, no. Nah, man, I said that. Keep the receipt. That's all I say. Keep the receipt. And then we come back to it. More times than not, when people try to challenge me on the receipt, they usually unfollow me after the receipt checks out, or they go numb. Crickets all the way around. I'm like, hey, the receipts don't lie. Trust me. Been doing this for a while. But I like calling myself out. I do. It's fun. I think it's hilarious that I call myself out. Like, I thought Zach Wilson, since they're on the top of the Jets, I thought Zach Wilson's going to be a franchise quarterback. Boy, was I wrong about that one. That Beast receipt did not check out. In fact, you should get a refund on that. I'm sorry. Oh, man. Thank you so much for the Michael Rocha for the super chat. He says, please get Q Williams if possible. Raiders, baby. All right, we're going to break it down right now. We're going to break it down right now for you. All right. Again, 58 people watching right now. Give this video a thumbs up if you like what I have to bring on the daily here on YouTube. All right. So what's the instant gratification versus long-term gains? Let's talk about that for a second. We always talk about that in all my videos when establishing why the move could be made, right? So why the move was made, we're going to change this to why the move could be made, because it has not happened. This is all, right? This is all hearsay. Why the move could be made. So why would the Raiders even consider targeting a guy like Quinnen Williams? Well, let's face it. Some of the scouts are still on staff when Mike Mayock was here, and he said, yeah, we tried to trade up and get Nick Bosa, but then also they were high on Quinnen Williams too. That's not a secret. In fact, the Beast receipts check out when I talked about Quinnen Williams. Why? Because Mike Mayock values interior rushers more than edge rushers. When he spoke to quarterbacks, again, this is something I'm very well versed in. I do my research, okay? I was even covering the Raiders back in 2019, but I cover all 32 NFL teams. That's how I know this. And I've been mock drafting, so I've been following Mike Mayock for years. He said this in his pre-draft analysis that the quarterbacks that he spoke with say that interior pressure is more detrimental to the quarterback than outside pressure because, one, from the outside pressure, you can kind of climb up the pocket and deliver, whereas if you're getting pushed up the pocket, up the middle, you're going to have to scramble left and right, and by then, you're kind of being in a compromised position if you're not quick enough, or if you don't have lateral agility, if you don't have the ability to keep your eyes down the field. There's a lot of different things with that. So I said, don't be surprised if Quinnen Williams is sitting there at 4 and they draft him, although I did have him projected and mocked to the Jets at 3. But let's just talk about Quinnen Williams for a little bit. All right. So again, why the move could be made? Well, the Raiders need an interior rusher. All right. I know they drafted Byron Young, who they just signed today, the 3rd round pick, number 70 overall out of Alabama. All right. We're rolling with the tide here. I know they traded up 2 5th round picks back up into the 4th last year for a guy by the name of Neil Farrell out of LSU, another SEC product. We also know they drafted a 5th round player last year in Matthew Butler out of Tennessee, another SEC product. We also know at the tail end of this entire draft class in 2023, they went out and got Nesta J. Silvera, who I broke down and really liked out of ASU. All right. So again, that's 4 defensive tackles right off the bat. So where would Quinnen Williams fit in the grand scheme of things? Again, the financials will get to that, but it has to make sense first. We don't need to go over the financials if it doesn't make sense, right? Like if the guy wasn't a scheme fit, then we'd be like, nah, man, like why are we going over financials? That's wasting your time. He's not even a scheme fit. The guy plays in a 2-point stance as opposed to a 3-point stance, and coach wants him in a 2-point stance or a 3-point stance, whatever the case may be. All right, so the iron sharpens iron mentality is always alive here at Raiders headquarters, right across the street. Okay, that can't be debated. Trust me. Like it's really, really alive. All right, so that's good. So from a competition aspect, he's coming from one of the best programs, Alabama, Roll Tide Roll. Coach Nick Saban, right, calls him the best coach ever, right? In my exclusive interview with Quinnen Williams. All right, and you guys got to peel back layers of the onion to get to the core, as I always do here in the DOB. We talk about the Raiders, right? We just talked about the 4 young interior defense tackles, right? All 4 are going to make the roster, potentially, right? But then who else do they have? What did they do last year, right? They kept 6 interior defensive linemen last year on the 53-man roster. Started with Andrew Billings. We still have Bilal Nichols there. We still have Neil Farrell, Matthew Butler, Jonathan Hankins, who they traded away. And then they also have Kendall Vickers. That's 6 interior defensive linemen that were on the 53-man roster last year. Well, I would say 3 of those 6, right? So yeah, Bilal Nichols, Neil Farrell, Matthew Butler are on the roster this year. So that's 50% probability rate that they're going to make the 53. No, that's not right. That's 50% success rate that they are on the roster this year. And I would say 100% chance that they're going to be on the 53. I think all 3 of the guys are going to be on the 53-man roster. So that leaves 3 players left, right? So again, Peel back layers of the onion to get to the core, right? When forming the 53, here we're doing it on May 15th. Who does that on May 15th? Well, I do it. The Beastwriter does it. That's why they call me the Beast. All right. There's no way Bilal Nichols is not going to be on this roster. Trust me. He's the best run defender, all-around best player on the interior right now. And I ran grades on Bilal Nichols when no one knew who he was. I said, I got grades on him because I cover all 32 NFL teams. And then the Nation, that's how I got that. Again, that's one of the selling points was I got a lot of followers from it because I had grades. I ran film. I was like, I know exactly who Bilal Nichols is. I like this guy. I like what Champ Kelly did bring him in from Chicago. So you got Bilal Nichols there, not going anywhere. Neil Farrell, definitely not going anywhere. Matthew Butler, I don't think he's going anywhere. Why? Because both those players are entering year 2. Hard sample size to pull from in year 1 when they really weren't given the opportunity. Now you have to earn those opportunities. I'm not saying you have to, you're going to be given the opportunity based on your draft stock position. No, you have to earn that. But at the end of the day, you're not going to get rid of a player either, just off 1 year body of work. Because they drafted these guys. It's not like an Alex Leatherwood situation where new regime comes in like, no, man. Nope, see ya. Or like, sorry, Tyreek Gillespie. Nope, see ya. Right? Sorry, Tanner Moose. Sorry, all these other players. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on, let's be honest about this. All right, so that's 3 players already in locked positions. All right, the other 3 who I consider my locked positions, that's for debate. I mean, you have Byron Young, who's a locked position, so that's 4. But then you have 2 other guys, right? So it's 2 other guys weighing around. And if you were to ask me, is Nessa Jade Silvera going to make the 53? I think if you bring in a guy like Quinnen Williams, he might make the practice squad, but not the 53. So again, you look at this, and again, we're peeling back layers of the onion to get to the core. We'll get to the financials, but first, does it make schematic sense to go ahead and get a guy like Quinnen Williams? Yes, because he's not a one-trick pony. All right, he's very scheme diverse, and Q is just a different beast, right? He instantly upgrades the 3 technique position and as a pure pass rusher up the middle. So he's going to, again, free up one-on-one opportunities for Max Crosby, Chandler Jones, and Tyree Wilson. If you think about this logically, you have a defensive line with Max Crosby, Tyree Wilson screaming off the edge with Quinnen Williams up the middle. And then hopefully Neil Farrell or Matthew Butler pick it up with Byron Young waiting in the wings as a rotational player. You have you turn instantly a weakness into a strength. You're only as strong as your weakest link. Right now, the defensive line on the interior is a weak link. Now they improved that weak link a lot with Neil Farrell having another year under his belt, Matthew Butler having another year under his belt, and drafting Byron Young. So the iron sharpens iron mentality is alive and well. But you add in a guy like Quinnen Williams, that instantly boosts a stable interior rotation to a front-loaded top 5 defensive line. I'm telling you right now, you have Max Crosby and Quinnen Williams right there. That instantly gives you 20 sacks right there. 20 sacks just from 2 players alone. In fact, when you look at my mob stats and my grading system, Quinnen Williams literally created opportunities for other players last year. In fact, 4.5 of those sacks by the New York Jets came off of Quinnen Williams occupying multiple blockers and, again, flushing the quarterback into doing something he really didn't want to do, and the other guys would just clean up the trash. All right, so, again, a lot of stuff does not show up in the box score. You look at Quinnen Williams' stats, and the first thing is, oh, yeah, he had X amount of sacks and blah, 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 blah. It's like, okay, but, like, what was his impact far beyond greater than those stat line? Like, when you grade the snap, not the box score, that's what you get here in the DOB. All right, so again, there's different layers to this. You can't just go out and say, oh, yeah, I think Quinnen Williams is a good fit. These are the reasons why. There's a lot of layers to this. There's, again, 62 people watching right now. Give this video a thumbs up if you like what I have to bring on the daily. All right. Daniel K says, in and out the chat while I'm at In and Out with the fam after baseball practice. Got to listen to all the gems on the run back and write it down. Hashtag DOB, hashtag Beast Receipts. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Chris Gang, thank you so much. We also have Jerry Tillery. So he's in the mix, obviously. He's not going to go anywhere. He's probably arguably the best interior defensive lineman in terms of a pass rush presence. And I don't think you bring back Jerry Tillery played really well. I like Jerry Tillery. Doesn't talk to the media much, but hey, like him. It's good. It's good. So again, you bring in a guy like Quinnen Williams, though, that instantly boosts the production there. Puts everyone on notice. You have a Quinnen Williams walk in the defensive tackle room, everybody knows, hey, great, I have to compete with that. Wouldn't you want to compete against that? That's the standard. That's the standard in the NFL. Wouldn't you want to compete against the standard in the NFL as opposed to the standard of someone who's not the standard in the NFL? I don't know. That's just me. All right. So here we go. All right. So again, we talk about that, right? So we talked about what he brings to the table. Let me just read you some beast receipts that I have on Quinnen Williams from my Twitter account. And again, if you guys don't follow me on other social media platforms, just besides the one you're watching on right now, do so. It's in the description box below. On YouTube, Facebook, you guys can follow me on Instagram at Beastwriter. All right, so let me just go ahead and pull these up for you guys because I know you guys love my beast receipts. All right. Here I said on April 20th, 2019. All right. April 20th, 2019 at 10:15 a.m. On Twitter, if 49ers decide to draft defensive tackle Quinnen Williams over defensive end Nick Bosa, it wouldn't be all that surprising. Teams already filled the Leo role with D Ford, and plugging Q next to DeForest Buckner would give team its best defensive tackle tandem since Bryant Young and Daniel Stubblefield in the early 90s. Don't underestimate pocket pushers. All right. And then the comments here, this guy, Matt, says, would be an embarrassment to take a defensive tackle again, in my opinion. Get another young outside pass rusher and let Eric Armstead and Solomon Thomas compete to be that guy beside Buckner. I'm just reading the comments here. I like that move. Bay Area Chicano says. Kaisa So says, that's what I'm saying. This is back on April 20, 2019. That's what I'm saying. Everyone is in love with an edge rusher, but because they play edge, but you have to have a special player at edge. For me to select you at number 2, I'm all for Williams. And then some other guy says, Smith brothers were studs. Well, Smith brothers weren't interior defensive tackles. One was an outside linebacker in a 3-4. The other one was a 4-tech defensive tackle in a 3-4. But again, beast receipts check out. All right. I was very high on Quinnen Williams coming out. Here what I said, April 20th, 2019. All right. At 8:12 p.m. Still on the Quinnen Williams train. I said, I have a gut feeling. This is on April 20th now. Obviously, my pick changed on draft day. You guys know how I do it on draft day. You already know. Smoke screens, you already know. But on April 20th, I tweeted this out in 2019 at 8:12 p.m. I said, I have a gut feeling Raiders GM Mike Mayock's top-rated defensive player outside of Bosa is Quinnen Williams. If team wants Quinnen Williams, they'll need to leapfrog Oakland to get him. Mayock favors interior rushers who can push the pocket from the interior. What I just talked about. What Mike Mayock values. Let me write this down. Again, if you're going to talk about the team you're covering, for me, I like covering the other 31. That way you have a strong knowledge base of exactly what's going on around the NFL. All right. Takes a lot of legwork. You're basically multiplying covering one team times 31. Who has that kind of bandwidth? This guy does. All right. All right. Here's another one. April 23rd, as it gets closer to the draft in 2019, Raiders defensive line coach and former 49ers defensive tackle Brenston Buckner worked out defensive tackle Ed Oliver at his pro day. Sources say team is in love with the Houston product and is in play at number 4, especially if Jets take Quinnen Williams. Teams could also make a splash for inside linebacker Devin White. #BeastWriter. Pretty good. And then on April 25th, 2019, my final mock draft, I said at number 3, the Jets take defensive tackle Quinnen Williams. My analysis is GM Mike McCagnon has always drafted BPA and things don't change despite best 3-4 outside linebacker Josh Allen sitting there. Williams is a dynamic player up the middle who can play multiple techniques along with Leonard Williams, who, by the way, is not signed beyond 2019. How'd I do? All right. And then again, you fast forward, right? You fast forward to what I'd say, geez Louise. All right. May 6th, 2019, after the draft. Many of my friends are asking me who I think will have the better season between Nick Bosa and Jets Quinnen Williams. And my answer is simple. From a stats-based argument, hands down, Bosa, he plays in the 4-3, whereas Williams plays in the 34. Beast receipt checks out. Beast receipt checks out in 2019. All right. There's another one. All right. And again, if you guys want to see my analysis on Quinnen Williams, you guys can go back to one of my first podcasts I did during COVID back in 2020 on October 27th, 2020, when it was rumored that he was on the trading block. Again, how do I know all this stuff? I run the grades. It takes a lot of legwork. Like, I love doing it, though. It's not like I'm complaining about it. I'm complaining about the content stealers who try to pretend like they know what they're talking about and they don't. Daniel Ken says, definitely remember to hit the like and hit the bell notifications for the best, most informed Raiders content on YouTube. Hashtag Beast Nation, hashtag source for the knowledge. You already know. You already know. All right. So here we go. All right, here we go. So we're talking about Quinnen Williams right now. 51 people watching right now. Give this video a thumbs up if you like what I have to bring on the daily. All right, so again, when you run the grades on Quinnen Williams, like I did, all right, in 2020, he wasn't all that great. I'll just be 100% honest. I graded weeks 1 through 7 and then stopped. Again, there's only so many hours in a day. What I choose to do with those 24 hours is up to me. I didn't see a Pro Bowl player. I didn't see an all-pro player back in 2020. So that's 1 year removed from his rookie season, right? Going to year 2. That's why I graded him. I was like, what I saw in 2019, transition to 2020, what did I see there? All right. And then I doubled down on that. I'm like, I see something in his run fit integrity. I like what he brings to the table in that standpoint. You know, he had a good game week 10. That was probably his best game graded in my grading system. I mean, week 6, he had a really good game back in 2020, but outside of that, he was kind of like from weeks 3 to week 5, he had 0 pass rush presence. All right, my grading system. In fact, in week 1, he had a negative grade in the pass rush department. So again, he didn't really come on in the pass rush department until week 6 and week 7, which he really came on. He graded at 7 and 9 respectively. So again, you see that he was starting to pick things up at the midway point of his second year. Again, this is positive news for who? Neil Farrell and Matthew Butler. Again, going from year 1 to year 2, you're going to see a guy's rise. So give the guys a break. Give the guys a break. They can be special. They can definitely be special. We don't know yet. I'm very high on both those guys. But again, we have to know why the move could be made, right? So again, we talked about them drafting Byron Young in the 3rd round, number 7 overall. We talked about Matthew Butler and Neil Farrell, the iron sharpens iron mentality, keeping 6 interior defensive tackles. And then again, what he brings to the table, if he were to be with the Raiders, it's not even a question. Like, he would instantly boost that defensive line. He would make everyone around him better. He would be the mob player in my great game grading system that would help out guys like even Max Crosby. Max Crosby would benefit from having a 3-tech defensive tackle who can push the pocket on his own or even occupy multiple space at the same time and still go after the quarterback. Like, how does that happen? Very few people and players in the NFL are that way. You look at a guy like Cam Hayward when you run the grades. He's another one. Very underrated. Pittsburgh Steelers. You guys don't know who Cam Hayward is. Very, very fundamentally sound. I mean, Cam Hayward, again, he could be scheme diverse too. He plays on the 34 base with the Pittsburgh Steelers as a 4-technique defensive tackle, but you can shrink him inside in a 4-3 and have him be a 3-tech defensive tackle, like kind of like a DJ Jones. But the difference between DJ Jones and Cam Hayward is Cam Hayward can actually bring the heat. He can actually, his bull rush, you know, Andrew Billings talks about a bull rush being his fastball. Cam Hayward's bull rush is like his rocket launcher. Like, that guy is, you know it's coming and you cannot stop it. So I think Cam Hayward's a top 5 IDL all day long. But again, you have to look at the comparables, like when it comes to Quinnen Williams, right? Don't just name drop people on the roster or the team that you're liking and be like, oh yeah, this guy's better than the players that we already have. No, what's the apples to apples comparison? No pun intended, coming from New York and delving into that crystal ball when comparing the other 31 other NFL teams and the comparable of the players that they have already on their rosters and the depth chart and so forth, right? A lot of different layers here, all right? But we're talking about it, all of it. All right. So again, we all know that Quinnen Williams is a fit, but he's going to be asking for 23.5 million APY. He wants 60 million probably in guaranteed. So again, where's the instant gratification versus long-term gains come into play, as we always talk about on our live streams? Well, let's go ahead and break it down. All right. Jackin says, I chat on LBJ's show, Jets show. I keep my friends close and other teams closer. Never would the Jets trade QW, Quinnen Williams. I wouldn't say never because I don't think GM Joe Douglas would ever say never. And having covering Robert Saleh, who, by the way, had a good working relationship with Coach Saleh with the 49ers, I don't think he would ever say never. I don't think never, ever, ever. I don't know. I think that Quinnen Williams, let's face it, if he wants $23.5 million, why wouldn't you give it? Why wouldn't you give him that? At least that. No, is he going to get $31 million that Aaron Donald's getting? No. If he's asking for that, then I can see that can be a problem. But again, when you look at the comparables, it doesn't really make sense. So again, what does that look like? I'm breaking it down, right? I'm breaking it down. So again, you run the grades, right? And then you fast forward to 2022, right? Again, I graded 14 games of him last year, all right? And he graded at a 7.3, all right? His best game was week 6 against the Packers, where he had a perfect grade. He had a perfect grade against the Packers, right? He also had a grades of a 9.0 against the Patriots, week 8. So again, from week 6 to week 8, he had really good high grades. In fact, the one in between, where it's the meat of the sandwich, so to speak, because you have the two pieces of bread on the outside there. In week 7, he graded at 7.8 with against the Broncos. So again, you see a guy that really gets it. Like, the guy is just coming on at a Pro Bowl play. And then week 1 against the Ravens, played at a first team all pro level. Week 3 against the Bengals at home, played at a all pro level, 8.2. All right. And then week 4 against the Pittsburgh Steelers in Pittsburgh, right? Graded at an 8.0. Grade again against the Patriots in week 11, 8.75. Right. So again, against the Vikings, week 13, 8.5. This is all first team all pre. He's very consistent. It's not going from like a 10 to a 3 or a 10 to a 4.5 or a 10 to even a 6.3. You're really getting a guy that's very consistent in bringing the pass rush department and in his run fit integrity. In fact, when running the grades, he had 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13 quarterback pressures, resulting in a loss of down or negative play for the offense. He also had 8 quarterback hits, resulting in a loss of down and negative play for the offense. He also had 2 pass breakups in 14 games. Here's some food for thought. I graded every single sack that he had up until week 14. In fact, in week 14, he had 2. If you guys remember in that game, catching my breath here, he wasn't even able to finish the game, and he had 2 sacks going into that game. He had a calf injury in the second quarter and did not return in that game against the Buffalo Bills. How do I know that? I ran the grades. All right. So again, you really have to do your legwork on this. All right. Again, week 3, he came up with the sack against, obviously, week 3, it was against the Cincinnati Bengals. What did he do? He bull rushed the center and route to quarterback for the 1 technique. All right. Week 4, you're seeing a tackle and stunt from the 1 technique angled at the center as he beat Kevin Dotson out of the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Raging Cajun, right? 4th round pick. Call it your boy. We talked about him just yesterday. All right. Week 5. You see, do you understand where I'm going with this? Like, for me to formulate this analysis, and that's why I get upset, because people, you don't have this. Oh man, it's just hilarious how people want to. Oh yeah, we talk about the Quinnen Williams. Could he become a Raider? It's like stop with the shenanigans, man. Let me write this down. All right, so here we talked about the grades. Now let's go ahead and talk about what the instant gratification versus long-term gains. All right, what's the perceived value for getting a guy like Quinnen Williams? How does it find the right fit in terms of fitting in the personal financial snap sheet, right, for GM Dave Ziegler? Well, let's face it, Hunter Renfrow could be traded, right? And again, we talked about all the wide receivers that the New York Jets have, but you don't think that the dynamic of A-Rod with Hunter Renfrow there would be kind of enticing? Like it would, like it's something that you would look at and be like, dang, you have Garrett Wilson, you have Mecole Hardman, and then you have Hunter Renfrow, and you also have Randall Cobb. I mean, look, injuries to Allen Lazard's already there. You have weapons. So like adding a guy like Hunter Renfrow, I could see that playing out. And there's already been talk about it. Other beat writers have talked about it, right? So the possibility that it could happen is there because it's coming from other beat writers who actually work there, not content creators, beat writers who actually work there. Like, that's the difference. All right. The source of the information is coming from beat writers who actually work there, who are saying that don't be surprised if Hunter Renfrow is moved. That's no one's surprise, right? You don't have to be a beat writer to know that, but the fact that a beat writer is putting it out there because he works there should mean something. All right. So look, it could happen. I'm not saying I want it to happen. I like Hunter Renfrow, but it doesn't matter what I think or what you think or what anyone else thinks. GM Dave Ziegler is going to do what's best for the football team. Could he be a piece to the puzzle? That's what we all have to think about. Could he be a piece to this puzzle? The Raiders only have $3.9 million in salary cap health. All right. So again, when you're looking at it for what it really is, how does it fit? Okay, we only have $3.9 million to play with. You just said Quinnen Williams is going to be asking for $23.5 million APY and $60 million in guarantees. The math don't add up, Beastwriter. Not so fast, my friend. If you trade Renfrow with a post-June 1 designation, you save the team $11.2 million in cap savings. Now, if you take $23.5 million minus $11.2 million, what do you get? The balance remaining from that, again, how do I know this? I've been doing this for a while. The question mark then becomes what happens to Josh Jacobs. I want Josh Jacobs to stay in Las Vegas, but he hasn't signed his tender yet. That $10.1 million franchise tag tender, he hasn't signed yet, so he can't even participate yet. He wants a long-term deal. He's owed that. He's earned that. I'm with Josh. You guys, how I know about Josh Jacobs, I think he should get every penny that he requests. But again, it doesn't matter what I think. It doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't matter what any of the nation thinks. It's what GM Dave Ziegler thinks is best for his football team and building this team up from the ground up the way he knows how to do. He's not going to listen to the noise, and he's going to do it his way, which I ultimately and undoubtedly, obviously respect. All right. So again, you have $21.3 million. If you take $10.1 million and then Renfrow's $11.2 million, $21.3 million plus the $11.9 million cap health that you already have, that leaves you a balance of $25.2 million in cap health. That would give you just enough wiggle room to go ahead and sign Quinnen Williams and trade for him. But why would it make sense? Why would GM Joe Douglas even entertain this? Why would the Raiders even go off the unbeaten path and trade Josh Jacobs and Hunter Renfrow for Quinnen Williams and maybe some draft capital? Well, let's break it down. What happened when I run the grades on Breece Hall last year? Well, he tore his ACL. He was in line to be arguably Offensive Rookie of the Year, and he tore his ACL. He was coming into his own, and if you know Coach Saleh like I do, because I covered him with the 49ers, you know how he likes to use a running back by committee approach. With that being said, you don't think Aaron Rodgers would be looking at this and GM Joe Douglas looking at this and be like, okay, how is that ACL injury recovering? Because we all know that 70% of all ACL injury related injuries can develop arthritis in the affected knee. With that being said, are we so sure that Breece Hall is going to come back at 110%? Why not get an insurance policy in Josh Jacobs, sign him to a long-term deal, and then at the same time, we can get another weapon for A-Rod to throw with between the 20s and down inside the red zone. I mean, you have Garrett Wilson, you have Hunter Renfrow, you have Mecole. Think about this. What would the lineup look like with both those guys there? You have Aaron Rodgers at quarterback, Josh Jacobs at running back, Garrett Wilson at wide receiver, Hunter Renfrow in the slot, Mecole Hardman splitting outside, right? And then you have Allen Lazard. Now, from GM Joe Douglas, they would have to make this a post-June 1 trade, right? Because they would save the team $9.5 million because you're picking up his fifth-year option. So, again, does it make sense? I mean, you have Crosby, Quinnen Williams, and Tyree Wilson. Would I do it? That's one hell of a line, turning a weakness into a strength. But would I do it? After all of that I just gave you, my answer is simply no. I wouldn't. As much as I like Quinnen Williams, I would not make this deal. Because there's too much risk factor for me with life without Josh Jacobs at the end of the day. He's too valuable. You cannot get rid of Josh Jacobs because I'll be honest with you. He was the offensive MVP last year. All right. He was the offensive MVP of the entire league, arguably, last year. Josh Jacobs do not grow on trees. All right. That's just my thinking. And again, Jimmy Garoppolo, having covered him with the San Francisco 49ers, needs a security blanket and a run game to build off of because he's a game manager, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. People get a negative connotation by me calling Jimmy Garoppolo a game manager. No, he's a winner. At the end of the day, I don't care how you win as long as you win. But you cut off the head of the snake, the body will crumble. We talked about this with Josh Jacobs time in and time out. Like, look, Josh Jacobs is the engine that makes it go. You can't do it. So that's why when someone talks about Quinnen Williams to Las Vegas Raiders, it doesn't make financial sense. One, they don't have the cap space to do it. And if they did what I had projected to fit him into the salary cap, that's way too many moving parts for me to make this deal worth GM Dave Ziegler's investment. All right. So again, what's the probability of something like this happening? Probably like 25%, 30%. I mean, they'll definitely talk about it. If I'm pretty sure if Joe Douglas called up GM Dave Ziegler, hey, like, what's your situation with Josh? Like, can we work something out? Or what's going on with Hunter? He'll listen. He's not gonna be like, oh no, these guys are untouchable. Why? Because no one is untouchable at 1475 Raider Way, right? No one is safe. Talked about this time last year, right? No one is safe. So that's why I think it's kind of one of those things where, yes, in a perfect scenario, in a perfect world, I would love to have Quinnen Williams in the silver and black. But ultimately, does it make sense financially if that were to happen? Because it can happen. I just pointed out the parameters of how you can fit them in financially. But that's just too much risk involved. Again, life without Josh Jacobs. And then you're going to have Zeus White, who's entering year 2, who I think is going to have one of those years where people are going to look at and be like, dang, man, I see potential as a 1,200 scrimmage yard back. I really do. I think Zeus White is one of those guys that no one's really talking about, and I'm excited about. But at the end of the day, if you were to ask me, hey, man, we're giving the keys to Zeus White. Josh Jacobs has gone to New York, but we got Quinnen Williams in return. And by the way, we shipped off Hunter Renfrow. I'd be like, man, that's way too much. We were getting up way too much for that. Now watch it happen. Oh, man. All right. We've been on for an hour and 18 minutes and 34 seconds. And if you guys want to support through a super chat, super sticker, do me a solid. I put a lot of time and effort into making these videos and these live streams. So if you guys want to support through a super chat or a super sticker, please do so. Trust me. A lot of work. But a like is free. There's 61 of you guys watching. That's just as good. So hit the thumbs up if you guys like what I have to bring on the daily when it comes to silver and black content. All right, we've been on for an hour and 19 minutes. I just want to give a shout out to the super chat that was given to me earlier on this live stream. And again, if you're watching the replay, shout out to Mika Germany, who sends me super thanks all the time. Sent me 2 of them. Mika from Germany is raising the bar here in the DOB, sending me super thanks on every video. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Mika, really, really means a lot, from Germany. And I know you're going to be watching the replay because you watch all my replays. and I respond to every single comment here in the DLB. So I just want to give a special shout out to Michael Rocha, the lone soldier. He says, please get Q Williams if possible. Raiders baby. Thank you so much for the super chat. Really appreciate it, Michael. Means a lot, and wouldn't be here without you guys in my corner. All right. All right, 60 people watching right now. Give this video a thumbs up if you like what I have to bring on the daily. And again, spread the word to all your family and friends. We're making sense of Raiders targeting Quinnen Williams. And again, financially, it can happen, but there's a lot of moving parts that need to take place. $10.1 million for Josh Jacobs, Hunter Renfrow 11.2. You add that, and then again, on top of that, there's also some other numbers that I'm not going to delve into. It's just there's a lot of math involved, and that number can definitely be inflated. And so then we have to kind of rework the contract. And then there's restructures that have to be involved, and there's a lot of different crazy stuff that can go on. All right. A lot of different crazy things. Raider Carl says, if we cut Bolden, Bilal Nichols, and traded Renfrow, we would have more than enough cap to get Quinnen Williams and Marcus Peters. Wow. You guys really want Marcus Peters. Mario Arena says, Abdullah wasn't that bad with more touch. I like Amir Abdullah too. One of my favorite players to cover. I love Amir Abdullah. I love the whole entire running back room. Great group of guys. Carlos says, Raiders. How you doing today, Carlos? And again, if you have yet to subscribe to the channel, please do so. All right. I'm telling you guys right now, if you're watching this and you're looking at this and being, man, I really like this flavor. I like this Beastwriter guy. I like how he calls himself out with these beast receipts. I also like how he praises himself with these beast receipts. I also like how he takes the time and breaks it down layer by layer to get to the core on the why behind why Quinnen Williams to the Las Vegas Raiders makes or doesn't make sense. What's the financial snap sheet when covering the other 31 other NFL teams, and how does that affect the team that I like in the silver and black? If you like all those different flavors that I bring to the table, you're going to like this DLB flavor on a daily. So do yourself a solid, subscribe to the channel, spread the word to all your family and friends as we continue to grow the DOB here on YouTube. And if you have a Gmail account, all you have to do is get a YouTube channel. It's free. You're already there. You already have a Gmail account. You're halfway there already. Just sign up for a YouTube account and turn on the bell notifications. And again, a lot of people watch my stuff on the replay. You only have 24 hours in a day. Right? You have family, you have kids, you have prior obligations. Some of you guys have second jobs, third jobs. Some of you guys play high school sports, right? I'm getting a lot of kids in here because of my fitness grind. So they follow me for fitness and football, even though they're not Raiders fans. I have Packers. These kids are Packers fans, Steelers fans, Cowboys fans. Some of them are Raiders fans. Some of them are Niners fans. But again, a lot of kids in here. Good vibes only here in the DOB. And again, I like just talking football. I also like talking strength and conditioning and fitness as well. Space Chim says, don't know if I give up Jacobs for Q Williams. Yeah, I don't think that's a roll tide roll collateral damage, man. Like, I wouldn't do it. But again, in order to make it financially count, I wouldn't be surprised if, like, you know what I mean? Because from a GM Dave Ziegler perspective, and I love GM Dave Ziegler, if he understands that a player is not going to be, how should I say this? If he doesn't think that a player is going to be in there long term, you might as well get the most out of your return. And not because of his play, it's because they can't agree on the contract. That's just the nature of the beast on the business side of things in the NFL. People look at it as a sport, and it is, but the NFL is more of a business. Like, we all see business decisions day in and day out. Right? I've seen enough of it to know the NFL is a business at the end of the day. It's all about the bottom line. Lapaka K808, thank you so much for the super chat. Really appreciate it, my guy. Or girl. And I like your little avatar. Is that Darth Vader? I think I see a Darth Vader dog. In fact, if I had to take a guess, is that a half Rottweiler, half lab? I can't really see the avatar, but Lapaka K808, thank you so much for the super sticker. and super chat. Mahalo for the love. I just want to know what's your dog's name, and I think that I'm gonna take a guess: half Rottweiler, half Lab. Oh man, this is crazy. This is crazy. But I'm glad that we talked about Quinnen Williams because again, people are going to be talking about this tomorrow. Oh, they were taking notes today. And now they're going to hop on their Instagram stories and Instagram posts, and they're going to go on YouTube and start talking about Quinnen Williams. But you heard it here first in the DLB. We got you guys covered. They might look. You already know. They're gonna write it down. Oh, Lopa. Oh, I was right. I was right. See, the Beast receipt checks out on dogs too. Guys, that's Kippy. Yes, sir. Half Rottweiler, half Lab. I was right. See, I'm not a one-trick pony. I'm a bodybuilder. I'm a fitness model. I'm a beat writer. I'm a online coach. I am a dog predictor. A dog predictor on Rottweilers. I had a Rottweiler. That's all I know. To this day, the best dog ever. I had a Rottweiler mix. It was half Rottweiler, half German Shepherd. That dog was mean in a good way. Like it would, like you knew, like stuff was gonna pop off if you got if you're in the wrong place. Hey, all bets are off, man. That's on you. Mr. Engel 15 says, "Love the beast flavor, bro. Your hard work, it shows." Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. And I like your avatar too. It's dope. I just think that right now there's a lot of stuff going on that, I try to come on, put out honest work, and it just really irritates me when people steal my work and try to make their own content from the work that I put out without giving the credit. Just give the credit. That's all I ask. And it's the professional thing to do. It's the right thing to do. It's the honest thing to do. But, let's face it, 90% of the people out here that try to be somebody aren't ethical. Like that's the nature of the beast. Like that's just how it is. And it shouldn't be. And that's why there's a vetting process. When people want to hop on the DOB channel, there's a vetting process, right? Because I'm a beat writer, I got to protect the brand, right? I'm not a content creator. I'm a beat writer, right? There's a difference between the two. I'm not saying it's better or worse. It's just different, right? So as a beat writer, I can't speak for anyone else, but I need to protect the brand. I need to protect the Beast Nation here in the DOB family and have guests who I know that have a strong track record of the qualities that I just talked about. Someone who's ethical, someone who's going to credit the source, someone who's going to do the right thing, and then bring out, foster those good vibes only, right? We always talk about the good vibes only. What does that actually mean? Well, good vibes are honest vibes. If you're not honest with yourself, if you're not honest with the work that you're putting out there and it's wrong what you're doing, then don't do it. Then stop. You can stop. But don't get mad if people call you out on it and then you try to be on the defensive about it, about what you're doing, because that's just making yourself look way worse than otherwise just stopping the act in the first place. But hey, to each their own. I guess that's the difference between me and them. But yeah, those content stealers are just ridiculous. There's also a lot of good content creators, right? Like there's great content creators, like my guy Samoan Raider, Mr. Fitz. They have an Ooze Nation podcast, do a really good job at that. They'll be hopping on the YouTube channel because there's a vetting process that's in here. And so again, in order to protect the brand, we need to have content creators on here because I am a beat writer, not a content creator. I am a Raiders beat writer. So again, we have to make sure that everybody is doing what, I don't know how to say it, like doing honest work. Like, I don't know what else to say. More times than not, if I was just a content creator and not a beat writer, like if I wasn't a Raiders beat writer and this wasn't my 9 to 5, yeah, I'd have everyone on. I don't care. Like what's it to me? Like I'm not credentialed. Like I wouldn't care, but I am. And there's a standard level of professionalism that I have to go through, and that I cross-check with, you know what I mean? I have a strong support group that cross-checks all these things internally, externally, whatever the case may be. So again, when we have people on, you're getting the Beast perspective. And then that's why on Wednesday, we're having my good friend, Randy Cross. Sound familiar? Randy Cross. arguably the best 49ers offensive lineman to ever play for the San Francisco 49ers under the Eddie DeBartolo days. He's going to be on. And again, Randy is one of my good friends. We keep in touch all the time. In fact, he was the one that reached out to me during COVID to co-host a podcast with him through Relevant. And that's how I met a lot of good people. And again, my network just built off of that. He had his choice to work with anyone. He could have worked with any player. He could work with any former coach or current coach. He could have worked with any beat writer. He chose me. And he chose me for the simple reason. I said, why did you choose me, Randy? You could have had your choice of anyone to work with. Why did you choose me for your podcast? He's like, because I know you know football. Like, I know you have grades. I know you have film. I know you watch film. I know that you cover all 32 NFL teams. Just by hopping on your live streams, I know exactly what I'm getting, and I want the best. He literally said, I want the best. So I was like, man, no bigger compliment than getting that one from Randy Cross. So he's going to be on here on Wednesday. We're going to be talking football as it pertains to the silver and black, and of course, what he's up to. So again, that will be every Wednesday at 6 p.m. for our Blitz Pickup podcast. And again, everything's dissected for you guys on a playlist here on YouTube. Jack Ken says, never forget Raiders, Ray, and Pharaoh. Yeah, obviously. Raider Ray, Pharaoh NFL, they really do a good job too. And again, as we continue to grow, I'll leave this up so you guys can follow them. Thank you for helping me out, Jack Kenna. I appreciate that. Yeah, both these guys are great too. So again, there are good content creators, but at the end of the day, like I said, I can't just have any content creator on the show because there's a vetting process that I like to go through as a beat writer. And no one's really telling me you have to do this, or you know what I'm saying. But for me personally, that's how I know with the Niners. Like, I don't just have anyone on. I don't just have any 49ers content creator trust me on this. Like, it's just a bad look. So so no matter what fan base, there's always going to be those content creators that are just like bad vibes, and we don't want those bad vibes. Jeremy Willis says, I'd love to see you on Silver and Black today, as well as Hondo Carpenter, #Beast, #Nation. Oh, here's another thing. That'd be cool. And I kind of want Hondo on the show. I kind of want Vinny B on the show. I kind of want all the beat writers. So that's why we have Don't Miss a Beat from the Beat, because I want to give and highlight a fellow beat writer and just gain their perspective on what they're hearing and seeing and when they're watching film, right? Because again, my stuff's not like, like the Bible, right? Like, everyone can have their own grading system. Everyone knows how to watch film. Hondo has his own scouting reports that he puts out there. So, I mean, everyone scouts, right? I mean, there's no difference. Every beat writer does it. So yeah, it'd be fun. It'd be fun getting, and hopefully those guys can hop on the show, because I think it'd be good. I think it'd be good for the DOB just to get a fresh perspective from another beat writer. And that's why we had Case Kiefer on. That's why we had, although he's not a beat writer, that's why we had Harry Ruiz on for the Blitz pickup. That's why we're going to have Randy Cross. The more voices that you get that actually, again, there's a vetting process to this, right? I'm not going to have just random people on the show. Like this, like, I'm not going to do that. Like, I've tried that in the past. It burned me. I'm not going to do it again. And so it burned me, not because I did something bad, but it's because it's just a bad look having someone who's like, you think they're going to, but then you really don't know they were recommended by it. You know, I'm just like, nah, man, like, So I was like, man, that was just a bad look. So never had them on again. And so they got upset about it. It was some 49ers content creators. I don't even know what was their name. They don't even exist anymore. But like a lot of the Niner fans are, you need to have these guys on. And we had them on, and it's not so much like they were just like, I don't know, unprofessional. I don't know what else to say. I don't even know the name of the show. Gosh dang it. What was the name of that show? It was before like even podcasts took off. Like I forgot the name of the show. It doesn't even exist. I actually tried looking for them. I was like, well, I wonder what these guys are up to. YouTube must have took them down because their channel's not even there anymore. Oh man. Mario Arena says, subscribe since you teamed up with Sanji. Oh, hey man, Sanji's supposed to have me on this show again. We've been working on this for well over a year. I know he has a family, and he has he's also an accountant, so he's doing his thing. Hopefully he has time. I know he just moved too. So if you guys want me on the show, drop it in the comments. I watch all Sanjit's videos, by the way. I watch every single Sanjit's videos. And I do that because I support him. So yeah, it'd be cool to have him on the show, and it'd be cool for me to hop on back on his show, because that's where let's face it, that's where a lot of you guys came from, hopping on one show another content creator, and you guys follow me still. Literally, that was like literally almost a year ago. Jack Hannah says the beat from all the Raiders beat writers would take over YouTube. Well, that's the plan. That's why I started it. That's why I started it here in the DOB. That's why I started Don't Miss a Beat from the Beat every Thursday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Jeremy Willis says, Beastwriter, you're destined to be an NFL GM in the future. I appreciate that. I think I have so much fun just being a beat writer because there's a lot of pressure being an NFL GM, but I'm not. There's a lot of pressure on that. But the Beast Receipts do check out. But again, when you're in that chair and you're sitting on that pedestal, oh man, that seat gets instantly gets hotter. It's easy when you're not in that, it's easy for me to just say, yeah, I have the Beast Receipts. But then when you're up there and you're getting paid millions and you're just like sweating it out, like, man, should we even make this transaction today for Christian Wilkinson? I mean, I don't know. It's easier on the outside than it is when you're on the inside. So again, I credit the GM Dave Ziegler. He deals with a lot of BS, bro. Like I'm just saying, GM Dave Ziegler deals with a lot of BS, a lot of drop, like all that, man. Like, and he still puts a smile on his face, goes to work, keeps those positive vibes up. I can only imagine, man, if I was a GM, I'd probably be, I don't know, man. I'd probably go, like I'd probably be like in a different situation, headspace, for real. Probably in a different headspace. On to Six Socials. Beast, have you watched the film on the, but I appreciate that, Jeremy Willis. And a lot of people have said that. A lot of Niner fans have said that. I don't know if they're joking or being serious. I think they're semi being joking, but then also semi being serious. What I'm saying is that is a lot of work. And I would just, to be honest with you, the first layer of this is just getting in as a scout. Once you're in as a scout and you have a region to cover, then you earn your stripes. And then even then, it may take 10 years, 12 years, 15 years, depending on how good you are. Or a lot of times not what you know, it's who you know. Let's be honest about this. But whatever the case may be, you work your way up, right? And then the next landing spot could be what? A national scout working for Blesto. You guys know what Blesto is, right? We talked about Blesto, the different scouting services, right? You have Blesto and then you have the national, right? You guys know the difference between Blesto and national? Blesto stands for Bears, Lions, Eagles, and a talent organization. So the Bears, Lions, and Eagles, TO stands for talent organization. Bears, Lions, Eagles, Steelers talent organization. So that's Blesto. I was saying Bledo. That's Blesto. Those teams formed the scouting service that was used at once upon a time by those teams. The other ones use national. Some don't use neither. All right. So again, different layers to the scouting departments, right? We're not talking about the assistant GM or the GM. We're talking about the different scouting departments, scouting services within the scouting departments. So again, different layers to this. Man, there's a lot of stuff that happens behind the scenes that not enough people get credit for. Like, honestly, like I know at the Niners, Steve Rubio is at every freaking pro day, it seems like. Justin Shabbat, him too. Tall, he was a national scout for the Niners. Him too. They're Ethan Wall, who's now with the Jacksonville Jaguars, and GM Trent Baalke. There's a lot of different guys. That's with the Niners. And then obviously the Raiders, you have Champ Kelly, assistant GM. Yes, of course, GM Dave Ziegler, but Champ Kelly, assistant GM. Dwayne Joseph, director of player personnel. Sean Herock's been there for a very long time, right? He's like a legend there. And then you have who's a senior personnel advisor, right? And then you have, the national scouts, Andy Dangler, DeJuan Daniels, Lenny McGill, and then you have Brandon Yergin, director of college scouting, right? Who's in charge of the scouting side. So all the Jalen Morris, right? Who's an area scout, right? Or one of those scouts. Not sure if he's an area scout, but he's a scout. So a lot of those guys, man, put in the work, put in a lot of Kyle Caballero, another one. A lot of guys put in the work, man. It's a lot of work. Oh, also Brett Maxey's son. He's also a scout for the Raiders. Funny. I was looking at this. Because I read the media guide. It's funny. It's crazy. Like I read the media guide. I know most people don't. I love football. I love learning. I love paying my respect. Brett Maxey, if you guys don't know who Brett Maxey, for all you Niner fans, he was the defensive back coach back in the day. Like back in the day, he would run these pregame drills where he would start off on the sideline and he would have the defensive backs running in a straight line on the line, because again, you do that because you don't want to be too far off in terms of your base, right? So we're talking, again, this comes down to training camp. How do I know this? The Beast receipts, check out. But Brett Maxey's son is now a scout for it's cool. I think that's cool. Everything comes full, so I think that's dope. Lopaka K808 says, go Roll Tide. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Boogie says, fans can turn on you real quick if you make the wrong decision as a yes, absolutely. Look, and that's the thing. It's like, I always have a headspace of, it's always easy to criticize the pick in hindsight, but what did everyone think in real time? Like, that's what I care about. I don't care about the hindsight 2020. Like, oh, yeah, we should have drafted blah, blah, blah. It's like, nah, man, what did you say in real time? Like, put yourself in GM Dave Ziegler's shoes for a second, okay? Stop and think. What are the other 31 other NFL GMs doing? You don't have time to do that. But then you have to know that in order to criticize GM Dave Ziegler and what he's doing and his grind. Because it's unfair to just say, oh, GM Dave Ziegler sucks because he's not doing this. He didn't do anything to address the offensive line. He didn't do anything to address the defense tackles last year. This is the talk that was going around Raiders headquarters all year last year. And I was like, you guys are dumb. Like, you guys need to stop. Like, for real. And they're like, oh, like, what are you talking about? I'm like, he just doesn't have the horses, dude. Oh, we has the horses. Okay. But I know nothing. I just watched film. I said, you don't have the horses. You can't have success without the horses. Yeah, you can't expect to run a derby without a horse, a good one. Like, what are we doing? Jeremy Willis has agreed. Love the positive vibes from Ziegler. He's brilliant, and he's earned my trust as a lifelong Raiders fan. Can't lie, I was wrong about Mayock. I thought he'd be a great GM. Look, this is another Beast receipt. I thought Mike Mayock would be a great GM. Me too. So I like calling myself out too. Ha, ha, ha. Me and you, Jeremy, both were wrong on that one. I thought Mike Mayock would be an excellent GM. I was like, man, this guy is very good in his scouting reports, his evaluation versus evaluation on players, but let's face it, John Gruden made a lot of those picks and decision-making from what I've been told at Raiders headquarters. And because I asked, one of the first questions when I set foot in there as a beat writer my first year, I was like, hey, is it true that, I had my notes up, is it true that John Gruden had final say in this pick? And more odd times, he had final say on a lot of matters. So I'm not blaming Mike Mayock. And that's unfortunate for Mike Mayock because, unfortunately, the Cleve Farrell pick, he already discussed about that, right? If you guys haven't seen the podcast on that, here on YouTube, you can find everything, by the way. I love YouTube. There's a podcast that he was on, and I think Sanjit even posted it up. I think it's on Sanjit's channel or his Instagram channel, one of the two. I follow on both. But Sanjit posted it up, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. That was good information by Sanjit to repost that video of Mike Mayock talking about the 2019 draft class, which had to do with Quinnen Williams and how they wanted to trade up for 2 for Nick Bosa. But then John Lynch said no. I could see how that conversation would go at Levi Stadium. And Mike Mayock, oh, there's a phone call from across the bay, because they're still playing Oakland. Hey, yeah, we were wondering if you're willing to move off number 2 and trade back to number 4. And you see Parag Marathe go like this. Parag Marathe was he still is. He's like the cap guru guy for the 49ers. Great guy, great person. Love Parag. Parag, if you're watching, how you doing, my guy? Parag would probably be like, no, we're not doing that. We're going to miss out on Quinnen Williams or Nick Bosa if we trade back to 4. There's no way he's getting past 3. Either one's not going to get past 3. So no, sorry. We're not going to do that. And we have Fred Warner as an off-ball linebacker, so we're not going to go after Devin White. Jack has Raiders beat writers would put together unbelievable. Honda would probably run it. Hopefully not too much drama. I would probably run it, to be honest with you, since it's my show. but we would have them on the show. Jack Hansen, Beast got to ask, is my boy Onto Six a personal friend? Onto has been on show before. My brother. Yeah, Onto Six is awesome. That's why we follow each other on Instagram. Haven't really met him yet, but we talk all the time. All right. Al Sadiq says, I thought Mayock would be great as well, but forgetting him having no GM experience. Yeah, that is true. That is true. All right, I think we're going to wrap up this live stream. There's 46 people watching right now. Give this video a thumbs up on your way out. This has been a very productive live stream. We talked about Quinnen Williams, covered a lot of ground. Talked about Quinnen Williams, if it makes sense, and what's the asking price if the return on the investment was in play. What would it take to fit both franchises under the salary cap so it makes sense for both sides? And again, what's the positional needs and how they value those positional needs from a valuation versus evaluation standpoint. And then on top of that, we talked about some transactions. For those who don't know, Byron Young was just signed today, the third round pick, drafted number 70 overall out of Alabama. They also went ahead and released a player and also signed a wide receiver. So again, moving parts all the way around here from Raiders headquarters. And Carlos says, hit that like button. Absolutely. Thank you so much, everyone. I just want to give a special shout out to those that sent me super chats today. Michael Rocha, thank you so much at 6:44 p.m. He kicked it off 44 minutes into the live stream with a super chat. Thank you. He says, please get Q Williams if possible. Raiders, baby. And thank you so much, Lopaka K808. He sends me a super chat with his avatar of his dog, who is a half Rottweiler, half Lab. Mr. Rangle 15, thank you so much for your super chat. He says, love the Beast flavor, bro. Your hard work, it shows. All right, so again, we're going to end this live stream. I hope you guys had a lot of fun. I know I had a lot of fun. Keep the receipts. You know what's coming out tomorrow on other content stealers channels, Instagram, social media, YouTube, Twitter. But you heard it here first in the DOB. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Have a good night. Beastwriter out.